Dear audience, today I am delighted to welcome an accomplished leader in education, Dr. Richa Bhargava. With over 3 decades of experience across CBSE, ICSE, and IGCSE boards in India and abroad, she has made her mark as an international educationist, institution builder, and academic innovator. She has held senior leadership positions, including vice principal, headmistress, HOD, and principal, while also pioneering the establishment of schools, English language labs, and preschools that have flourished under her vision. So currently, Dr. Bhargava serves as the principal of Seth M.R. Jaipuria School, Pratapgarh. She's also a certified CBSE Resource Person, academic trainer, motivational speaker, blogger, and writer, passionately guiding teachers, students, and institutions towards excellence. Over the years, she has been recognized for her ability to integrate technology in education, mentor teams, and foster holistic learning environments. We have with us a self made woman, Miss Richa Bhargava, as a principal, educator, and mother. I'm truly honored, ma'am, to have you join us for this webisode. It means a great deal to me. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Your presence is sincerely appreciated.
A pleasure for me also. Thank you.
So, moving straight towards the questions. So, ma'am, you have spent a significant part of your journey at Bal Bharati. I'm really curious, how did that experience shape you, not just as an educator, but as a leader as well?
I actually started my teaching career from Bal Bharti, and I started right at the base level where I was the Montessori teacher. So they had adopted the Maria Montessori method, and from there my learning began. And I got an opportunity to set up the lab, the English language lab there in the primary classes, and set up the syllabus also, which enhanced the spoken English of the children. So I was basically known as the English conversation teacher there. And now the children have grown up, my students there, and they are actually now, some of them are doing very well in life, and when they write back on Facebook, that they now realize that how important English was and as a global language. So I feel very happy that I've been able to give them something, some kind of a base. And then I in Bal Bharti I grew as a teacher. I learned a lot. I had wonderful principals, Mr. G. Gupta. I had wonderful um, in charges. I had a very nice vice principal, Mrs. Raman, and uh, seeing them how they behave with their own team. Now that finally I'm a principal, I try to imbibe the same culture for my own school.
Right.
So trying to make it a golden period, because Mr. Gupta's period in Bal Bharti was known as the golden period. So I try and make the same thing for my teachers or wherever I lead a team. That's what I've learned from Bal Bharti. Actually, I have grown as a teacher, and I've become a very refined teacher in Bal Bharti, because it's a very good institution. Everything is very set there. They do not follow any kind of new norms and policies. They have their own very set ways of working, which is good, and they keep upskilling themselves also, and they encourage. Main thing is here I want to share that my principal, usually principals don't do that. I haven't seen anyone doing it. He found out which of his teachers were only graduates, then he brought them postgraduate forms, and he said, fill this and become a postgraduate.
Wow.
Those who were already a postgraduate, he gave them opportunity to do some research papers and do a doctorate. So enhancement in studies, which he told. And with the, like, I had two children when I did my MA, because he brought me that form to do post graduation in English. So that was something amazing, and I wouldn't have done it. And I had gone for an interview there. Actually, I had gone for a TGT interview, but then my grandfather had expired at that time, so I didn't go for the final interview. I went for the then he again called me. I mean, you have to see to the minuteness the details which that principal observed, I got a call that there's a PRT post for you. Why don't you join? Because I had missed out the earlier. So when I went there, he said, you definitely need to keep working. That's the advice which he gave me, which I have followed till 32 years of my career. He said, never give a gap in your teaching. Otherwise, you'll be just stuck in one place. For your own growth, always keep teaching and don't give a gap. So I took his words so seriously that I was teaching on 17th of May was my teaching day, last teaching day of the summer vacation, and 18 May my daughter was born. So much in a literal sense I took his words, and this is how growth has been. And I'm actually blessed to have wonderful principals, leaders who have led me and taught me a path where there's a bigger world than your own world. You have to reach out to the outer world and create your team, keep your team ready and keep your students ready for the outer world. That is what we aim. Everybody excels in their own small world,
Right.
but we have to prepare all our students, all, and even our facilitators, even our teachers, educators, support staff for the outer world. And that's what we aim and move ahead. So this is what I have learned in Bal Bharti, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Even teachers are students at one point of time, and there are teachers in principals too. True,
Definitely.
nevertheless. And when you look back at those years, were there any challenges or turning points that shaped your perspective?
Yes, there was actually when I had to resign and move on to Chennai because my husband had got a transfer there. It was a very tough decision to make between a homemaker and a working woman. And in fact, the principal had just retired, Mr. Gupta, and Mr. Arvind Bhatia took over, and he had told me, "You can divorce your husband, no problem, you stay here." I said, "No, sir, this is not how it's done." Then he went on to say that we will give you leaves and you can keep on going, but you stay here as a teacher and you can take extended leaves and go and visit your husband. But at that time, I felt the children were small and each moment in a family is important. So I resigned from there. But those moments were very special for me because I rejoined Bal Bharti when I came back to India. I joined NTPC. That's a project. It's a project school which was set up in NTPC, Khargon, Madhya Pradesh. And when in the interview, you won't believe I had the chairman sitting, and I had Mr. Arvind Bhatia sitting, who had been my principal, and the words which he said I still ring in my ears. He said that she is not, when she is joining us, she is going to be an asset to our institution. There is no question. We don't need to ask her anything. Please hire her. And we will be fortunate if she is working with us, because he understood that for 12 years when I had served Bal Bharti, everything, their culture, their tradition, the way they worked had all embedded inside me. And this is what I carried on to other schools. So he didn't take any interview and he just hired me. And I think I was one of the first uh, setups there where I was hired on an ad hoc basis, where no teacher had been hired on an ad hoc basis on a full salary,
Okay.
because he said don't compromise on salary with her because she left us at a scale, and from that scale we should start her up again. So like I'm telling you now, they're not so money minded. They give the 7 pay commission, they are good paymasters, and they have a good culture. So after so many years, when you come back to an institution and you're still remembered by your heads and you're taken back, that's a big learning.
True.
And straight away I handle the from classes 6 to 12 I was handling there, 6 to 10, sorry. And it was wonderful. We went into the international exchange programs, and we did a lot of things to make that small unit out there of 200 children into a international hub. So
Wow.
that leverage I could only get with the faith and trust which I had of the people there. And wherever you move, the children are always in touch with you. It's good to see them grow. It's good to see when they tell you that, ma'am, you entered the class always with a smile, and the teachers here in college don't smile at us. You're remembered for your smile. So that is also something very endearing, and it's nice. It's beautiful. wonderful journey at Balbharti, and maybe today I've reached where I have because of my
Right.
base so strong.
Absolutely. Fast forward to today. Education is evolving so fast. If you could design your ideal school environment in today's world, what would it look and feel like? What are those non negotiables for you?
Okay, first is I don't want my children to just be taught within the four walls.
Hmm.
When we say beyond the classroom, let's make it beyond the classroom. Why cannot we take our children to a playground and teach them poetry? Has
Right.
anybody stopped us? Nobody has stopped us.
True.
You're teaching the children daffodils and you're sitting in a classroom where they can't even see one flower, let alone, and then you have the technology coming in, which is great. On a smart board, you can show them, but the feel when they sit outside and they enjoy the nature, and then you explain them and actually make them get the feel of what the
Right.
poet is trying to tell.
Why not
That
touch
is
the palette
the
of nature? True.
yes.
Absolutely.
So that is what my school would be based, not so much on textbooks. I wouldn't ask the teacher to open the textbook. I would just ask the teacher, why don't you just narrate the story? Why don't you just recite the poem and then carry on to explain it? Let
Right.
the children decide the different versions. What the poet is trying to say, we never understand actually.
True.
This is
True.
our version. His version or her version would have been something else. And if we are not explaining properly, that person would be turning over in his grave, definitely. But we every child has its own way of interpreting the poem. Give the freedom to the child. Why say that no, this is the answer? This is, you can only teach them the meanings, the poetic devices, and let them take out the meaning. Even like poem like Fire and Ice, when I
Right.
teach them, every year the children come up with something new, which is an eye opener for me.
Hmm.
I say, oh, it could be this way also, and it is correct. So this my school wouldn't have any restrictions first of walls of books. Let the children do their own research, and research in a library, not
Hmm.
Google research. Go
Right.
in a library, sit in a library, talk, chat, take out stuff, and carry on from there. Like, supposing even as an English teacher, we are doing report writing. Why do we have to look at a format which is given in a guide or given on a smart board? Or why do we even write it out on a whiteboard? Why can't we take the child to a library, maybe tell the librarian to give 10, 20 newspapers, which could be not of that date, and they can see all the reports then. Huh? They can see how a
Right.
report is written,
Exactly.
how catchy a heading is, what is the byline, it is written in past tense. Let them read it out. And there they can circle if they find any first person there. They will not find
True.
any first person words there. And they know, okay, the report has to be written in this manner. They won't make a mistake then after that.
Absolutely.
So here you have your all writing formats, marks there. The literature is done properly, those marks are secure. Unseen passage, like case-based study of actual passages, are, I feel, destiny and luck. If you, sometimes it's tough, but sometimes it's very easy. And let that be. The child will score on its own if the
Right.
child is well. But I feel that sometimes, when you say, oh, you can, for the Montessori classes or the pre-primary classes or the primary classes, any teacher will do. No, any teacher will not do.
Hmm.
Those teachers have to be very well qualified. If it's an English medium school, the teacher has to be well versed in English. The punctuation, the diction, the correct word meanings are coming from pre-nursery and nursery level.
Right.
Actually, it is the cream which the class PGTs are enjoying. If all this was not done, the PGTs and the TGTs couldn't have come out with the results. I always appreciate and give an appreciation letter to my pre nursery and primary teachers for whatever they do, because that 3 hours is very tough with the children.
True.
So, this is in my school would have very refined teachers at the pre primary and primary level. And this, otherwise, giving a lecture and walking out of the class is easy. It's not that easy. I give true respect to them because I do the same thing. But if you send me to manage a nursery class, I wouldn't. I
Right.
wouldn't be able to.
Right.
You have to be, trained for that. So this is what I would work for, and definitely global exposure. Hands-on learning is very important for me. When the teachers say that I do not have
Hmm.
a teaching aid, I say you do not need a teaching aid. The classroom is a teaching aid. Pick up any
Absolutely.
object from the classroom and speak. So this is what a kind of school I would look for, and it's something I try to make the classroom like that. I also tell my teachers to do something like that here at say MR Jaipuria School now, and we are working on it. It will take time, but it will happen.
Right. So we talked quite a lot about 21st century skills in the last podcast with Matthew sir. But let's talk about the 21st century teachers, since you are the principal. So, what do you think truly makes a teacher effective in today's classroom? What qualities do you believe make an effective teacher in the 21st century?
Say, actually, the children are far ahead of us.
Hmm.
So we have to be one step ahead of them. And the content which you deliver in the class is available everywhere to the children. They
Hmm.
have numerous guides, they Google everything, and at times they also do the leg pulling of the teachers by asking them questions which are God knows from where.
Right.
But the main thing is that you have to be a teacher here where you don't shout and scream or get frustrated, because that is what they're trying to achieve. They are bored, they have nothing to do, and basically they know that at the end hour they will study and they will get marks.
Hmm.
But here it is not about manner which you are teaching them, has to be very very refined. You need to give them examples not from any guide. You have to relate examples of your teaching with your real life examples. May it be from your life, may it be from the life of other students which you have taught, your previous batches, or if you have read something, and you keep telling them that for this I'm giving you these type of examples. If you go and write these examples in your paper, the examiner, please understand the examiner's frame of mind. He has 25, 30 papers to check, and he has to go home till 4 o'clock. He is in a rush. So if you are going to give the same monotonous example which anybody out of lakhs of students are giving, then you will score the same marks. Every half percent matters, every 1% matters. So if you write an example which the teacher has told you in the class, which is from our own life, then that examiner will stop. He will read, he will enjoy, he will have something new to read, and that
Right.
half a mark he will give you extra. That is what you're aiming for. It's all a game between you and the examiner. Why don't we give an examiner a paper which he would love to check, where the all the in the narrative answers, the subjective answers, you have underlined the key points. You can give an example of your own life, anything which your teacher has said. So in that manner, do not upset the paper in any manner. Do not, purposely do section B first and then C and then A to confuse the examiner. He doesn't get confused, he gets irritated, and then you end up getting the same monotonous marks. So this is one thing which we have to stay ahead of the students by giving them examples. Not, they cannot get examples from anywhere, so they'll have to sit and listen to your lectures if they have to learn something new. Plus you have to be very interactive. You cannot, just be teacher based teaching where only you are speaking and the child is listening. He is not listening. You think he
Us
is
has to be
listening, but
interactive.
his mind has already gone. After 10 minutes of your teaching, the child is not in the class.
Right.
So the challenge is there, how to keep the child with you for the next 30 minutes more. That is what you have to work upon. Whether you use your smart board, you show a small clipping of something to divert his attention, visual, then
Or
come back to little
sometimes
bit of your
maybe
lecture.
be the event, be the character. Try to
Yes,
dramatize the
very,
class. Absolutely.
very true. You can have role play in the class.
Mm.
You can even when I was in the IGCSE board teaching in Wales, Billabong, there was a chapter. They had very different way of teaching. They used to do different continents in EVS. They used to touch one continent, and next year they wouldn't do that. So when we were doing that, I had gone up dressed up as an Egyptian queen in the class to teach the children. They wouldn't forget that ever. So this is, and you wouldn't even forget that experience. So you can also go dressed up. There's no,
Right.
you do not have to teach with inhibitions. You have to get out of
True.
that and be free
Right.
to teach. where you enjoy your teaching and the students
Exactly.
enjoy the teaching.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always say that if the child loves the teacher, the student will love your subject.
Mhm.
So this is how you have to work upon in keeping the child engaged for that 40 minutes. And
Absolutely.
that can only be done when it is an interactive class where you do something hands on. Maybe you integrate with your maths, you bring in some science experiment. You, while you're doing a maths, very important concept, you can ask the music teacher to enter, and the children can make a jingle, or they
Mm.
can, make some lines they could sing, something they could rhyme and make
Exactly.
it out. And that's what actually the NEP 2020 is also aiming for,
Absolutely.
integration. I have taught you about Kanyakumari, or I've taught you about Tamil Nadu. Now sit and do some drawing, or which you feel you would, if you go there as a tourist, what would you buy, or what is your imagination of the tip of India? Just draw how it would look if you have not been there. So you bring in little bit of art, it will take you only 5 minutes. And but the child, you will also find out who's good in drawing, who's good in music, and then later on you can, make a team and bring in the children. So this is how I feel. This is how we have to go back. In our olden times, you had the Gurukul system where everything was done on their own and everything was taught in an integrated manner. We are exactly back to the system now. It's only that we have a building. Otherwise, there was no building at that time, and that is it. Otherwise, NEP 2020 is exactly how we were earlier taught, where everything was integrated. You did not have different compartments. Even when I was studying in Loreto Convent, I never learned grammar separately. It was all integrated together. And this is how I know that in one sentence I can take out all parts of speech. So this is how it is done, and this is how we have to make our children do. We cannot do rote learning. We have to move away from rote learning.
So now this is something every educator grapples with. How do you strike that balance between academic excellence and the overall development of a child? Because it's not just, grades, it's not just about grades anymore, isn't it?
No, it's not about grades anymore. Because I always tell my students, see, it's about sharing experience. I had gone for an interview somewhere. I keep telling this in my class. If you come to my, I still take as a principal. I haven't stopped teaching. I still take one class of class 12. I take English there, just to be among with my children, just to be in touch with my subject, and also help my other core teachers that what are the changes which are going on in the English formats. So it serves a lot of purpose. And you do go on around as a principal, so why don't you spend 40 minutes in one class and talk to the children? It is, this is how it is. And if you plan your teaching well, you will always cover syllabus on time. There is nothing about syllabus not being covered. It is always done if you are planning well. If you're not planning and you're walking into a class and spending six lessons, 6 periods on one chapter, then the syllabus obviously is not going to be finished, covered. So maintaining a balance we were talking about. Here I tell the students who are very hyper, my toppers, I say, see, when you walk into an interview room, whether you knock, whether you say, may I come in, these things count more. You keep standing till you're told, may I please sit down. You take permission, present your file, introduce yourself, wait till you're spoken to, do not interrupt anybody. These are the qualities which one of the examiner is sitting and observing, and your file will be open later. You will already be judged on these things which you have done from the time you have entered the room till the time you have sat down on the chair. Your the manner of walking, your posture, how you're sitting, all these things matter. I had also told them that once I had gone for an interview, and there was a small cabin of the principal, and there were 3 chairs and I was sitting. So one of the senior teachers were called, maybe, to introduce me or to give the timetable. And seeing her enter, I at once stood up because there were only 3 chairs and all three were occupied. And because of the culture and the way I had been brought up, I offered her the. And that is the only reason I got the job. Nobody opened my file to see where, what degree, what grades I got. And the teacher also went and gave a good report that there's a new teacher who's come, who stood up for me because she is so well mannered, she is. And the principal that I, like I told you, I worked under very good principals, and she was Mrs. Usha Francis from City Monterey School, Joplin Road. And she gave me a job because of that reason, because she believed that knowledge can be given, training can be given, but manners cannot ever be taught like this. They have to be embedded in you. So these are the things which I tell my children, and they now understand. They do not run after marks so much. They are, becoming more refined, more cultured day by day. And that is what I want when my children step out of Jaipuria. They are confident. They are confident Jaipurians who, attract people towards them by how they walk, how they behave. That is very important for me. So this is what I talk about overall development. Academics happen, marks come. They don't go anywhere because parents do send you to study, so you can't escape that. But what are the other refinements we are giving depends on us in school when the child is with us for 6 to 8 hours.
I would pull out a point because in the previous podcast, there was this comment from, I wouldn't know, maybe one of the students, that since we are talking about syllabus, what do you have to speak about the burdensome syllabus of English and SST?
See, the English subject, social studies is also fine when it is dealt with, because I have done my B.Ed in English and Social Studies, and I have taken up certain social studies classes. Social studies is certain things which you have to leave on the children. Like you don't have to explain the lesson line by line. See, it comes how well read the students are. You can always ask the child to read the lesson at home and come. After that, they're not small children. Here you're talking about from middle school to high school. This is what you're talking about syllabus burden. Because social studies has been, it has, three categories more divided into, it's further divided into different subjects: history, civics, geography, economics. So here, and the teachers are also different. So if you ask the child to read at home and come, and then why don't they narrate what they have understood in class? Why don't we from the narration of the child, why don't you just mark the important points and then go on to show them the video or the history of that place, so that those things, images are there, and then you go on to do a map with them, where you make them mark everything, so that it is there. In our time, we used to do a lot of map work. We used to, at that time we used to draw the maps. Drawn maps were not given to us. Our teacher used to come, she used to be an expert. With a chalk, she used to draw the whole map of India, and we used to know, oh my god, we also have to learn this, and we have to learn how to do this, and we did it. So we all have the caliber. It's only now with technology and so much of printing, students caliber is not being actually
True,
exposed. And we are thinking they can't do it. They can do it.
true.
And as far as English is concerned, why don't we let the child read? Let them read on their own. Whatever they don't understand, we can discuss the word meanings definitely. If they don't understand, we can tell them a lot of other similar words which they can use. And after that, we can have a discussion on the supposing that there are different characters in that story, you can have a role play, and so that everybody is given a chance.
True.
Otherwise, you can have, then you explain the lesson to them, discuss the important points, and main thing is the mind map. The mind map the child should make
Exactly.
on his own. So
Right.
once they make a mind map, and then make a kind of a flow chart as to how the flow of the story has gone. Let them write the important characters of the story, then let them do any kind of question answers. You don't have to stick to the question answers which are behind the text, behind the chapter.
In
I
fact, sometimes I feel content or knowing the content and knowing the character, knowing the critical analysis of the chapter is enough. Question
enough.
answers or solving, definitely solving the question answers are very important. But since the topic of, you know, crafting English or the syllabus of English as burdensome has come up, I should say take English as a storytelling subject. It's not burdensome. I don't know how else would I put it.
It becomes a burden when you're teaching in a school where the corridor language is not English. If the corridor language is not English, the staff room
Right.
language is not English, it is a
Absolutely.
burden.
True.
And if everybody is conversing in English, then what? It's just a story which you're reading
It's just
and you're
reading.
answering questions. I find
Exactly.
English the easiest, and I'm always the one who's
Exactly.
finished the course. and I'm sitting and doing either
I keep
debates or
saying
something
that.
else, extempo, or we are doing, okay, like now let's write a haiku. That's all we are doing because we've already done with the syllabus.
Right.
So this is how it is to be. Main thing is, I tell you again, the pre-primary and the primary level. If the language, if the reading is very good, you give one period in your timetable for English reading.
Right.
One period give only for English conversation, where they talk about anything, what happened at home, what was the conversation on the dining table, anything under
Reading
the
and
sun.
writing should be a committed habit, you know.
Yes.
It should
And
grow.
writing, what we are doing at Jaipuria is that we have all those print writing is there in the pre-primary, and the cursive strokes are there from class one. So we have put one chart of all the capital and small letters next to the board, and we have pasted small writing patterns in the notebooks of the children. So if they forget, they
Okay.
can always turn to the first page, refer to the stroke, and write. So this
True.
is what we have done to, so that they don't forget the stroke, how the T is made, how the G is made. They might forget, and then they look at their partner's book. The partner might also be writing wrong.
Right.
So best is to paste it in their notebooks where they can refer, and the parents also learn this way. The
Hmm.
notebooks go home. The parents, maybe if they only know print writing, they do not know the cursive. They will know through that.
True.
So this
Absolutely.
is how we work on the writing and reading. Reading is very, very important for me. So reading,
Very
we do
much.
newspaper reading also in assembly. I tell them when they go to the library, let the children take up the same book again and again. It's not possible that in 40 minutes a child has read the book. So the child can place the book in the same place. We had a bookmark making competition where the children made bookmarks and we use them in the library. We have more than 3,000, 5,000 books, and the children are placing bookmarks there every time. So that is what is helping them. They'll pick up the same book and read, no? So the
Right, right.
continuity is there.
True.
Plus, we also have introduced classroom library. So in a corner, the students have made a small library, class
Hmm.
library. They have brought books from their house. They have labeled the books, and then they keep the books there. Supposing a teacher hasn't come in, or it's a rainy day, they're not going out for sports, and some of them don't want to play chess or carom, then they can pick up the
Right.
book of any child and read. And after one academic year, we return the books to the children, and next academic year, again they bring. So there's a small library in their own classroom. Each classroom has. So that also encourages reading. Child is not feeling we are
I
walking, sitting at the
True,
back
true.
of the class, you can read.
I witnessed this in Lotus Valley International School. They have this, every classroom has a tiny bookshelf. And they would keep
Very
all the
good.
books there, and children would read, would pull it up, read whenever
Read it
there's a
down.
substitution, etc.
Yes.
It's a very good practice. True. So,
And this is how pieces. This is how they read. They become well read.
exactly.
They don't fumble over the reading, and that is why when till they reach us in class 11, 12, they will automatically read the lesson, understand the lesson, and they're
They
just
would
waiting.
connect easily. Absolutely.
Yes. You said, no, what obstacle you face, what challenge I face? I face the challenge of time. Parents don't have time to attend the PTM, and the children don't have time to give time to their grandparents. And we as teachers, if we also rush through the syllabus, then we are also doing the same thing. We don't have time for our students. So this is the biggest challenge which I'm facing, to tell everybody there is time. You just have to utilize and manage time well.
So, ma'am, one thing I'd love your thoughts on. How can school go beyond just focusing on toppers? How can we really support and uplift students who might shine in sports, music, arts, and other areas?
This is very easy. See, I just got a, because I just joined the school, so I was told by my, this is something real life. See, I've been telling you, when anything which I tell you will be of my real life experience. So, my teachers came to me and they told me, ma'am, now the half yearly is over, and we must segregate all the toppers in one section, and all the this middle yorkers in one section, and the below average in one section. And I was looking at the faces. I said, now we are going to discriminate students on basis of marks. They said, no, this is how it works. I said, okay, then I can foresee that now the teachers are going to come to me and they'll say, I want to teach the toppers only. So who's going to teach the mediocres and the below average? Now you all will only fight among yourself for this. So I said, this is not going to happen, or everybody is going to stay where they are. You have to work upon your children, where you tackle a set of children who are above average, they are average and below average, but you are going to tackle all of them together. For your above average students, you make give them such challenging tasks. Why don't you use the concept of flipped classroom, where sometimes they are teaching you and you are listening. When you are sitting and listening, why don't you sit and listen with a group of below average students, where you have made worksheets for them, knowing that this customized worksheets, where you know my student is weak in this topic, so you make 10 worksheets for those 10 students of yours. You sit in the same classroom and you do those worksheets, customized worksheet, and let your above average children handle the class. The mediocres have the full freedom to go towards the flipped classroom, or they come towards you to strengthen the concept which you are doing. So differentiated method of teaching pedagogy is very important here, and customized way of teaching your three levels of students, that has to be done. It is a big challenge for the teachers who are not aware of what I'm talking, but this is only going to work where we are going to move. You don't know, you have labeled that this child is a 30%. Okay, 30% student will never reach 80%, I agree, but you don't know what happens. Even Buddha got enlightenment, right? And the same way, you just might not know that that child who's sitting and he has been labeled as a 40% suddenly might understand what his own peer is teaching through a flipped classroom, which you have not been able to convey to your student through your way of teaching pedagogy. But the way his peer has taught him, he has understood, and he has understood, so he has understood that concept and he will gain 100 marks in it. So this is the classroom which we have to run. This is the need of the hour, and we cannot differentiate students on the basis of marks. If certain schools are doing it, they can continue, but we at Jaipuria will not do this. We will have a students all together, but the teacher is going to teach in a differentiated manner, where she is going to work upon all her three learners together: slow learners, average learners, above average learners, but different pedagogy has to be used in the classroom. This is how it's going to be done.
Like what we did in our previous schools, also in Lotus Valley, we would make different children. I mean, that would comprise the low graders, the mediocres, and the toppers. Nevertheless, there would be group discussions, and there would be a group of four. So there would be one that would be a topper. He would be, or she would be, the teacher, and the mediocre, and and we have to make sure that they are friends. So this way, they also get the skill of leadership.
Yes, very true.
Absolutely. So, no conversation about education is complete without talking about parents. In your view, what role should parents be playing today in a child's learning journey, especially in the new age, fast-paced world?
I say that parents should be more mm, friends with their children. They cannot dictate terms to them. That is not possible. That you have to do it this way, because they only know that way. But their children know 100 more ways. And then the children question, why is my way not okay? And because they don't know that way, so they say it's not okay, because they're not familiar with it. They are themselves scared. So only thing I would like to say to the parents is that do not be scared. Accept what your child is saying. Try and discuss things with your child, and then move ahead. And main thing is open discussion. You should have the child should feel that I can come and have an open discussion with my parents anytime, and if my idea is fine, I will be accepted. Acceptance is very important for the parent and for the child. So, and that is what is missing, because they feel that they're going to be ignored, or they feel that they are not going to be accepted, their ideas are not going to be accepted. So that is why they become closed up. Many students, when I ask, why don't you spend time with your parents, they say, we go and sit with them. After one or two questions, they ask, how is studies going, what is the topper's marks, why have you got less than the topper, and then finally they get up and they go. So try and make the conversation something other than the school. Try and find things where you can talk about anything on this earth except studies, because then they don't like it, and that is why they run away from their parents. That in the end we are only going to be questioned about what is happening in school, how are studies going on, and that is why they don't want to spend time with their parents. So spend at least one meal a day, or the full family should eat together, where they can discuss anything except studies. Maybe the father can share what happened in the office, the mother can talk about her office time, the child also tells what happened in school or in the bus, and then from there further topics can be picked up, where which are good social values, where you can teach some values to your child. You can discuss that, okay, this happened in bus, whether it was good or wrong or right, and let the child also express themselves as to why it was wrong, why it was right. Uh, this is very important, because then the child feels that, okay, my parents are listening to me. I'm also a voice. I'm also being heard. My opinion is also being valued. So from here, let's make a small beginning, and then the child will gain in confidence when he goes out and steps into the world. These conversations will make the child very confident.
Uh, I wanted to ask you, could you share a memorable incident or student interaction that has stayed with you for over years?
Not over years. I'll tell you something recently,
Okay.
because every day something happens new. We were having this Teachers' Day program, and there was this girl who was reciting something which she had written herself. Now, as a principal, I am not explaining myself. It's just that I had too much of work to finish at that time. So I went to see their rehearsal. And while she was reciting, I know her as a very good orator. So while she was reciting, I was busy talking about something, discussing something, and then I heard her voice going down, down. It was not so forceful and peppy. So I looked at her, I said, "What happened? What happened? You're not reciting as you used to." He said, "Ma'am, you're not listening to me. That is why I am not putting in my best." And there and there I stopped, and I she was not checking me as a overconfident student or anything. She was checking me because she wanted to be heard, and her point was right. If you're not paying full attention to me, why should I give my best? Very true. And this is the kind of student I want. This is the kind of student who steps out of my school should be. Knowing the right from the wrong, knowing when to give your best, just not because the principal is there, she is going on speaking whether somebody is hearing her or not. No, if nobody is hearing you, put a full stop. Don't let yourself be used. You should know your own value. First, love yourself, know your own value before you ask people to respect and love you or evaluate you. You have to understand how best you are, and if nobody is listening to you, you know you're already the best. Why should you give your best? And that was something which I said in my vote of thanks on Teachers' Day. I had the superintendent of police wife had come as a chief guest, and the district magistrate wife was also there. And in front of them, I spoke and I said, "Just see, this is the kind of students which I want to produce." Where she did not bother whether it was a principal or a teacher. She said, "If you were not listening, why would I give my best?" A very, very fearless, brave child, a brave girl. So this is an experience. These type of experience happen every day. It's a learning from me every day. Every day is a learning for me, whether it's a learning from my peers, it is a learning from my teachers, it is a learning from my students, even from my support staff. We were having like when I go now, I'm going and sitting in my car, they'll come and say, "Good day, ma'am." Because why? In the summer vacations, we taught them spoken English. They utilized that. For Teachers' Day, they were all lined up and they wished all the teachers with the children happy Teachers' Day. They felt very happy when we involved them. Also, all the support staff, because in the summer vacations, they didn't have much to do with all the classroom closed. So we taught them, those who did not know how to sign, we taught them how to sign, and we taught them spoken English, like common greetings and things like that. So everybody has a value. We have to, they understand. In Jaipuria, everybody is special and each one is special. That is what we I want each one of them to understand, and I think the message has gone across that each one has its own value. Whether you are a gardener, you are you are a admin officer, or you are a support staff, but each one is valuable to us. If any one of you leaves us and goes, we are not working properly. We cannot function properly without you. That is how I retain most of my staff. I never let my staff leave. I ask them 10 reasons. And if the exit interview is very, very important for me as to why will the staff leave and go. Because if I give a happy atmosphere, unless there's an emergency, then only the staff will leave and go. And when you have a very strong foundation for over the years, you have the same staff where you are, enhancing them, skilling them, training them, giving them in-house training, things get better and better. Then you can dream of making your school, taking your school up to a global level, of an international level, making it very refined. You can make it the school of the town, the school. That is what we are aiming for. And that is it how I would like all my students to be. I keep telling them, see how confident your principal is, not because I want to show off. I want to tell them that any situation, any challenge, I say when I come in the morning, I don't know what challenges I'll face, whether the loudspeaker is working, whether the electricity is coming, whether half of my staff has come or not, how many arrangements I have to put, but I'm always smiling and I'm always confident. I can deal with the situation. Go to your boss, go to your teacher with, if you're going with a problem, go with a solution. This will work in a long way. When you're working anywhere, if you approach your boss with only problems, you're not getting any appreciation. But if you approach your boss that this is the problem, this is the solution, do you have any other solution, then let's work on that. This is how you have to work on things. And I just hope things are going good and they will continue to go good with lots of more confident students coming up like her.
So it should be more conversational with the boss more than, you know,
Yes, yes. Paperwork, more than paperwork.
right. What advice would you give to the young teachers starting their careers?
The young teachers, I would give them advice that they should always respect their seniors. They should always listen, take time. I know they are young and are full of lot of ideas, but try first, take a full stop and see what is happening in the school. How are things running? Wherever you find something not happening where through your knowledge it should, then approach with the proper hierarchy. Do not break the hierarchy ever. You cannot jump over your coordinator or your headmistress, vice principal, and straight away approach the principal just because you want to get into good books. It does not happen like that. If you think your coordinator, whatever good you're doing, your coordinator is not reporting and you're not getting the lamplight, then why have expectations? Work without expectations. When you work without expectations, you will get the fruit on its own. But if you are doing something just because you want to be noticed, you want to shine in the lamplight, or you have expectations that I will be appreciated, then you are not going to reach anywhere. Just keep on doing the good work. You will be noticed. You are being noticed. How do you know you're not being noticed? There is a time where you will be acknowledged. There's a time where you will be given a responsibility where the other person might not be getting it because of what you have been putting in. Do not work against the flow, work with the flow. That is very important, and you will make your mark.
Absolutely, I second you on that. So, ma'am, if you could change one thing about the current education system, what would it be?
The current education system is actually doing fine, and I hope that NEP 2020 is fully implemented by 2030 as promised, and we all are working towards that. I would still work more towards skill enhancement, should be given more importance right from class 8. Don't wait till class 12. Right from class 8, the children should be given an opportunity where more of skills are introduced, like at the time of our fathers where we had Cambridge system, where you had SUPW work, where the children were taught to do carpentry, to put a nail, to fix up things, to fix up a fuse. You ask my son, he won't know what a fuse is. He'll say, nail, how do I nail anything? He'll end up hammering his own thumb because those things have never been taught to them. This is what has to be started, where I know how to fix a fuse. Why? Because I was taught earlier. I know how to do digging and planting things and grafting because I was taught this in school. So these type of skill enhancement have to start from grade 8, I feel, where it's not the embroidery and the knitting and stitching is not for only for it's not a gender discrimination, it is for everybody. These things should be taught to everybody, because now more and more students are moving out of the country. They are going to hostels, they're staying on their own. You have less of it's something practical. You have less of tailors, less of cobblers on the road, where if these things are taught to the children themselves, they can at least stitch a button, they can iron their own shirt, they can cook a meal for themselves and not waste money on MacD's. No offense to the the outside agencies which are there, but this is how we can do it. And this at this time, we how do we know knitting, embroidery, crochet? Because all these things were taught to us, but where have these things disappeared? I wonder. I haven't seen it happening, and this is dying down now. The skill is very very rare, and I would like to bring it up through like a home science or SUPW, maybe later on in my career. Next When we make the next timetable, I might have a SUPW period. We do have a NSA period, that is non-scholastic period, where we have it every Saturday, where children choose whether they want to go into music, art and craft, games, or they want to go into this English club or the Hindi club, and they do something there. But apart from this, I think a skill enhancement club should also come up, where the children are taught to fix a fuse, do carpentry, make a small table, fix up a chair, these kind of things. And this is what actually should start from class 8 onwards. Plus, you should also have more subjects introduced, not only after class 10. Now many schools are doing it, but all of us have to adopt right from class 8. In class 9, the children choose their subjects where the base is already made in 9, 10, and then 11 and 12 they go on to enhance. This is very important. And another thing regarding Sanskrit, I want to say, many of the students do not want to study Sanskrit because they say it's up to class 8 and they take it as a burden. So I have an appeal for the Sanskrit teachers that they have to make the subject interesting, whether you have stroke recitation, or you have a competition, or you just record the students voices where they are speaking something in Sanskrit, because it's a language which is dying down, and we at our school level are doing nothing to make it more feasible. So we have to now rope in more competitions, more activities, where Sanskrit is not seen as a dead language but a alive language. And because it's a very important language, but students do not have an interest in it. So maybe we could do a role play or something where we bring that language up. So these are the two things which we are working upon, and this is a thing which I see something wrong in the curriculum which you asked me.
Thank you so much. That educated me a lot. What message, ma'am, would you like to give to the students who will be listening to the podcast?
The message which I want to give to them is very, very short. Whenever you enter any examination room, you must remember, students, one thing: you should close your eyes before entering the room and say, I am the best.
Oh,
And
wow.
when you sit down and do the paper, you repeat, I am the best, and start writing the paper. Believe me, you will come out with glowing results. Because once when you step into the hall, whatever you have learned. But when you boost up your own confidence and you
True.
think that in this whole room full of 500 students, I am the best, then you are the best.
True.
And you will perform the best also. So please remember this. Whenever you face any stage, whenever you go and give an interview, be full of confidence and always remember this line: I am the best. It works. It works for me.
Affirmation
It works
helps.
for many students. It works.
Absolutely. So, finally, what motivates you, ma'am, personally to keep contributing to education even today?
See, actually, when I took up this, I became an educator. It was not by default. It's not like I did not get a job anybody where else, so that's how I became. No, I this was my choice. I wanted to teach, and by God's grace, I was a good teacher. So I sometimes, you find out, okay, a good teacher, you're very short tempered, you're very impatient, and you're screaming and shouting at the children more, and you're not reaching anywhere, there's no learning happening. So for me it was very important that maybe the chapter I've not covered, but some learning happened in the classroom, which was further taken home, further taught in the house to siblings or to parents. So this is what I wanted to do, and by God's grace, I from being a Montessori teacher, I went on to become a primary teacher, a TGT teacher, and then I taught the higher classes. In ILS, I was teaching class 11, 12 English, where I was also the editor for the news magazine there, Sagrika. And I've written a lot of articles also for the newspaper. And slowly, I set up two schools also in Chalk, Stafford preschools in Chalk and Thakurganj in Lucknow. And I've played many roles in my life. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And the cup, actually, if you look at a glass, it is actually full. I always look at a glass of water, whether it has half a glass of water, it has half a glass of water for me. It is not half empty, it is half full. So when you look at life like this, and you look at the life in fullness, then you feel happy. And today I am leading a team of 60 to 70 teachers, where we are interacting as heads of schools, where we are learning every day something new from our corporate office at Jaipuria, where it's a big, huge team who helps us to enhance ourselves as principals. And further, the learning goes down to our teachers. So this is what I want to say is always keep learning, keep growing, because when you are open to learning at any age, you are growing, and growing not only in age, you're growing with knowledge, you're growing in your own sanskars, you're growing in your own customs, on your own traditions. So it is very important to keep open to learning.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. A sincere thank you to our guest for bringing such insight and enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's truly an honor to have you with us. Not only,
Maybe
I'm sorry,
actually the passion. You should do anything you do with passion. The
true,
passion should never die down in your life.
true, true.
So that is very
And
important.
you seem to
Believing in
be,
yourself and having the passion.
you seem to be a very dedicated educationist.
I
You
am
are.
a very passionate educationist.
Okay.
I do everything with passion. Whether I taught
Great.
my students of Montessori, I taught them with passion. Whether I'm leading a school here, I do it with passion. So that is more. That is why the sincerity, the dedication comes on its own when the passion is always alive.
True. You
Do
fall in
something
love
new.
with
To
your
do something new.
profession when you're committed to the profession. Absolutely.
True. Very true.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
We'll be back soon with more meaningful discussions and thought provoking topics. While this conversation concludes here, the journey of learning continues. Keep turning the pages, and we'll meet again in the next chapter. Signing off from QuillBees. Stay tuned.